Hello everyone, it's Blaze from Blazing on Board, and today I'd like to show something cool, at least cool for me. I'm about to enter the painting competition for Star Wars X-Wing that is currently being taken over by Atomic Mass Games, and they are doing their first painting competitions. And I'd like to do my model, paint my X-Wing model for that competition. And what I decided to do, because I have currently only one faction and these are rebels, I decided to do something cool, and I want to paint two TIE fighters that have been stolen by rebels, so they can join nicely painted Sabrine Wren model. And as you can see, there is absolutely nothing extraordinary about it. It's just a simple base with basic TIE fighter. And what I like to do, I like to change the color, add a little bit of weight, magnetize it, and at the end, the final effect, I hope, gonna be really cool. When I'm going to have everything prepared, then I'm gonna start painting the model itself. So I hope that this video is going to be very educational, maybe gonna give you some inspiration, maybe you're gonna see that you've been doing some things and I did it differently, maybe in a better way, or maybe just differently. So I hope it will help you a bit, or at least entertain you. Alright, so let's get into work. We start with simple bases. As you can see, some of them are already quite wobbly and I didn't play with them a lot. So for starters, I'm gonna start gluing pegs to the bases. Just tiny bit of good quality super glue will do just fine. One drop in the recess we can put back in, and in a few seconds it should be fine. Now it's time to add some weight to our bases. I'm using 2p coins, mostly because they weigh enough, they are thin enough to fit under the base, and they are small enough to fit perfectly in the middle of the base. To glue those coins under bases, I'm using different type of super glue. As you can see, this one is a little bit more like a rubberish consistency, like it's a lot thicker. And it's mostly because it takes a lot more time to bond and dry. It takes around 20 to 24 hours to totally cure. But the bond is a lot stronger, and we're gonna make sure that coin that is underneath the base will not fall out anytime soon. Always try to put glue on the coin first, mostly because if you're gonna put it first on the base, if you're gonna put too much, you might put on a wider area than the coin's diameter is, and then you're gonna have some glue spilled everywhere around you. Now we should leave bases for about 5 to 10 minutes to let the glue dry a little bit, just enough so we can keep working on those bases. Now we are going to put some magnets instead of those pegs. I'm using around 3mm magnets. First one, bigger one, is going to be on the base. It's a rectangular one. Second one, which is a round one, gonna go on the ship. So there are going to be 3 pairs of neodymium magnets. So that peg needs to go. I'm gonna cut it off and then fit both magnets, one on model and one on the peg. To remove the peg, you can use hobby knife or plastic clippers. I prefer using hobby knife because it's more precise and leaves nice finish, while plastic clippers, they tend to leave not very nice surface that needs to be finished later on. And now all I need to do is just to make sure that the surface of the peg is flat and nicely finished. It's time to remove the fitting plastic from the model. You could use a hobby knife to cut it off, but there is limited space, so I could damage the model. But instead of that, I will use pliers to gently move, like wiggling. Grab the plastic, wiggle a little bit, and it's gonna come off quite nicely. And again, I will use files to finish the surface and leave it slightly scratched so the glue can attach nicely. Now, when we are going to attach magnets, make sure that 2 magnets are always making a pair, so later on when you're going to attach magnets to the model and to the base, they will attract each other. To make sure that glue is going to stick to base and model and your magnets, make sure that surfaces of magnets are slightly scratched, for example with a file. When bases and magnets are prepared, time to glue it. Always use high quality super glue like this Loctite Precision. It's very precise, so it will not leave mess around the base. Just small drop gonna do fine, and make sure that before the glue bonds, the peg is as straight as it can be. When big magnets on the base are already nicely fitted, we're gonna do exactly the same thing, but with a smaller magnet, and we're gonna do it on the model. And again, try to glue with a single drop the scratch surface of the magnet to the prepared space on the model. Thanks to scratched surfaces, the magnets will stick very quickly to base and model, and only after a minute or two you're gonna be able to keep working with the model and the base. With added weight and glued magnets, it is time to start painting the base. To paint plastic base like that, first I'm going to prime it with something dark. Usually I would use some dark primer, but right now I got red paint in form of chaotic red from Army Painter. It is dark enough and I got 2 cans, so it will do just fine. For the black color, I'm going to use very specific black 3.0 because it is one of the darkest black paints. Well, it is black as it can be, but it is extremely matte, so it will not reflect a lot of light. Prime bases now are going on some holders, and we're gonna use blue tack to keep them steady for a moment. Because black 3.0 is very matte, you will not see any brush lines when it's finished, so I can use very generic brush to apply the paint. As you can see, the paint is very thick, so 2 little drops of black ink should dilute it enough and we can apply it on the bases. You do not have to be very precise, but just make sure that all surfaces are nicely covered with that paint. We're gonna need 2 layers at least. As you can see, after a few minutes the paint is almost dry and we can start applying the second layer. We repeat painting the base with black paint just to make sure that every little piece is nicely covered with black paint. And now all you got to do is just leave those bases for about 24 hours. Mostly to let the glue dry everywhere and also paint dry on the surface of the base. After 24 hours, it will be perfectly black. 24 hours later, as you can see, everything fits perfectly. The black is really matte, the modules are nicely holding onto the base. For me, it looks fantastic. So, once you got everything finished, everything is magnetized, you got the little coin underneath, it's all painted, then you might ask how extra layer of paint is affecting all elements that we put in and on base. And I must tell you, it does not, it's not making it bad. It makes it a little bit more tight, but you still can put all those templates and all cardboard that you want to put on and in the base. In a good way, it actually makes it tighter, because after a while all those elements become loose and they can like start falling off during the game. Once they're painted like this, I can put all those templates and everything inside, and it's actually quite tight, and I really like it. I really like this effect, because it will not move, it will not fall off, it will not like start flying over during the game. Especially with those neodymium magnets, when you're gonna put your miniature, then it's actually quite strong, the connection between magnets, so you can like quite easily pick up models by ships and put it somewhere else. So it's not a problem. And there's also other thing with your moving templates. For example, this is 5 template with movement 5. I can quite normally, without any problem, just put it in here, and it's still moving a little bit. So that's as you can see, extra layer of paint does not affect anything in here. So actually extra layer of paint is helping with keeping all elements tight, and they are not falling out. So for me, it's perfect, and I like it. That will be it. As you can see, there's not a lot of work to do. It's literally 20 to 25 minutes of working with bases. If you're gonna make, like, for example, 10 of them at once, it's gonna take you like 30, 35, maybe 40 minutes, and then just leave it one day for curing and drying. And then after that, you're all good. You can start playing with those bases. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you soon.